Preface and Introduction to the Acharnians. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Expatriate in Bangor, Maine. The Acharnians by Aristophanes. Translated by Charles James Billson, 1858 to 1932. Translator's Preface and Introduction. Preface. In the following translation, I have attempted to present the Acharnians to English readers in the spirit of a lively acting play. With this aim in view, I have rendered the dialogue throughout in the free rhyming metre of modern burlesque, which does not even shrink, upon occasion, from a bad rhyme. It has been the usual practice of translators to represent the Greek iambic metre in English by blank verse, and there is certainly no finer mode of expressing the ordered march of the tragic rhythm. But for the less restrained comic iambic, the loose unrhymed verse generally adopted seems but a poor substitute, giving no adequate compensation for the lost point and emphasis of the original. This point and emphasis I have endeavored, with scant success, to preserve. English readers must not, of course, take this version to be, even in attempt, Aristophanic. The soul of Aristophanes dwelleth not in a dry place, and his audacious Bacchic license is out of date in the cool shades of modern Protestantism. Some passages in this play have been thus necessarily omitted, and others, for example the Phallic Hymn, have been, as the only alternative to their omission, hopelessly modernized. The notes are purely explanatory and illustrative, and do not touch upon any points of scholarship. Introduction. The oldest comedy that has come down to modern times is that which Aristophanes produced at Athens in the spring of the year B.C. 425. It has, moreover, the less fictitious interest of being one of the best plays that were ever written. The Acharnians was a bold but good-natured attack upon the Athenian Jingoes, who combined a bitter hatred of Sparta with an intense desire for the aggrandizement of imperial Athens. The critical instinct of great satirists usually inclines them to side with the minority. But Aristophanes had strong and solid reasons for his view of the situation, which might have convinced the most practical statesman. The Peloponnesian War had lasted 5 years, and the Athenians, reduced by the ravages of their enemies, and still more by the terrible visitation of the plague, had shown an elasticity under sufferings almost unparalleled in history. Their pride, so far from falling with their fortunes, rose higher at every reverse, and shrank from making overtures of peace to the exulting Spartan. This sanguine buoyancy of disposition prepared those who knew Athens best for the astounding levity which afterwards marked her conduct. But while there were many who saw no hope for their fellow countrymen, if they strayed too far from the old and well-tried paths, and who distrusted their airy visions and perpetual childish longing for some new thing, yet these were for the most part, like poor relenting Nicias, unable to stem the tide of popular enthusiasm, and either turned it to their personal advantage, or were swept away to their destruction. Aristophanes, however, under the mask of comedy, did not hesitate to oppose, with all his powers of ridicule and invective, the fatal delusion of the people. It is in this play that he first speaks out boldly in favor of peace, and the apologetic though firm tone which he assumes shows the risk which he ran. His apprehensions were not realized, for the volatile Athenians, always ready to enjoy a joke at their own expense, only laughed good-humoredly and gave him the first prize. They were content to kiss the rod without profiting by its correction. The Acharnians are well chosen to represent the most bitter zealots of the war. Their fertile and populous suburb, which lay about 8 miles from Athens, was desolated year after year by the invasions of Sparta, and their military character is evidenced by the fact that at the commencement of the war they furnished 1/10 of the whole regular infantry. The scene of the play is laid on the Pnyx, the meeting place of the ecclesia, or public assembly of the citizens. The Pnyx lay to the west of the Areopagus, on a slope connected with Mount Lycabettus. A semicircular space, with an area of about 12,000 square yards, was marked out upon the side of the hill, and levelled by means of large stones built up to a sufficient height from the lower ground. Here stood the bema, a platform cut out of the solid rock, from which the Attic orators spoke, in full view of the Parthenon and all the eloquent monuments of Athenian greatness. The public assemblies which met upon the Pnyx were summoned and presided over by the members of the Senate of 500, who were called Prytanes, and one of whose number was appointed chairman every day in the week. At the opening of the play, Dicæopolis, whose name means good citizen, the hero of the piece, who represents throughout the views of Aristophanes, is discovered sitting in the Pnyx, and waiting for the citizens to assemble. He is very much disgusted with his lot, and, casting up his accounts, shows that the pleasures and pains are very unfairly balanced. Item, to seeing Cleon, the notorious demagogue, prosecuted. 1. Pure poetic pleasure. Item, to hearing Theognis instead of Aeschylus in the theatre. 1. Tragical disappointment, etc. The times are altogether out of joint, and he resolves to set them right by a policy of obstruction. Just as he arrives at this determination, the light‐hearted crowd of Athenian citizens come pouring in, like troutlets in a stream, to deliberate upon affairs of state. The herald makes proclamation who wishes to harangue, whereupon an insignificant little personage gets on his legs and declares that he has a special mission from the gods to make a peace, upon which he is promptly removed by the police. The assembly then listens to the traveller's tales of some ambassadors, who excite the wrath of Dicæopolis, and he sends Amphitheius to Sparta to make a private peace for himself and his family. His messenger soon returns, running violently, for he is being pursued and stoned by some old Acharnian fire‐eaters, who will have nothing to do with peaces. However, he has brought Dicæopolis 3 samples of truces, from which that worthy selects one for 30 years, and retires to his house to celebrate the feast of Bacchus. After he has marched in solemn procession round the stage with his daughter and maidservant, he is set upon by the chorus of old Acharnians, with whom he has to endeavour to justify himself for concluding the peace. He contends that the Spartans are not so black as they are painted, and, when this argument only enrages his hearers the more, has resource to a stratagem, and so obtains leave to make them a speech upon the subject with his head upon a chopping block. But first he deems it prudent to borrow an appropriate tragedy costume from Euripides, the new-fangled poet of common life. Having obtained this, he comes out and speaks for his life, with such effect that he wins over to his cause one half of the chorus. The other half, however, still clamor for war, and call in Lamachus, the great general. When that hero appears upon the scene, he immediately becomes a butt for the ridicule of Dicæopolis, who abuses him soundly, first for his military appearance and spirit, and then as representative of those young ambassadors, who, through favoritism, were continually being sent off to Thrace and Sicily and all kinds of ridiculous places, doing no work, but drawing a high salary. Tried veterans, like these old Acharnians, he complains never gets these sinecures. Upon hearing this, Lamachus expresses his resolution of waging war with Sparta to the death, and Dicæopolis proclaims that he is about to open a market for the use of the Lacedaemonians and their allies, and the Megarians and Boeotians, in fact, for the use of all the world, except Lamachus. Here follows the parabasis, in which the poet, through the mouth of the chorus, answers the charge of libelling the state which had been brought against him. After an invocation to the muse in lyric verse, the chorus goes on to complain of the ingratitude shown by the state to her old servants, and of the scandalous way in which they are browbeaten in the law courts by ready-tongued and profligate young barristers. Meantime, the news of Dicæopolis' open market has travelled far, and the first person to arrive is a Megarian accompanied by two little daughters. The Athenian market‐place, from which they were excluded by a special decree, is a delightful spot to men of his country. However, he is so poor that he has nothing to sell or exchange, until the expedient suggests itself to him of selling his two daughters in sacks as little pigs. He thus disposes of them to Dicæopolis for some salt and garlic, and, thanks to Dicæopolis's cat o' nine tails, escapes from an intrusive informer. The chorus now sings some verses congratulating Dicæopolis upon the success of his piece. The next person who comes to market is a Boeotian, who arrives accompanied by a boy laden with all kinds of game, and surrounded by a crowd of pipers playing national airs. When he has driven out these nuisances, Dicæopolis asks the Boeotian what he has brought to market. And the newcomer, in striking contrast with the starved Megarian, enumerates beasts, birds, and dainties of every description. Dicæopolis agrees to purchase the whole pack, in exchange for that Athenian specialty, a sycophant or informer, one of those well-abused officials whose duty it was to inform against the importation of contraband goods. At this moment Nicarchus enters, and proceeds to denounce the Boeotian for bringing into the city a wick, which, as he gravely explains, might be used for burning down the dockyard. However, he is promptly seized, bound hand and foot, packed up in straw like so much crockery, and carried off under the Boeotian's arm. The chorus chant a panegyric upon Dicæopolis, and express their hatred of war in an ode to peace or reconciliation. And now the herald comes forth to announce the Feast of Pitchers, in which a skin of wine is given to the most successful tippler. Dicæopolis is very busy preparing for the banquet, and refuses everybody a share of his piece, except a bride who wants to keep her newly married husband from the war. Lamachus is ordered out to keep the passes in the snow, and Dicæopolis receives an invitation to dinner. And the preparations of the two for feasting and fighting are absurdly contrasted. When Lamachus is departed to keep guard, and Dicæopolis to make merry, the chorus take occasion to abuse Antimachus, who had offended their master, and express a wish that two humorous disasters will befall him. And now we have reached the closing scene. The warrior and the peacemaker return, the former wounded and miserable, the latter amorous, drunk, and happy, for has he not been triumphant over all rivals, and won the drinker's prize? So the play ends, Lamachus limping off to the doctor's, while Dicæopolis is borne away on the shoulders of his companions in joyful procession. End of Preface and Introduction. Recording by Expatriate in Bangor, Maine. Part 1 of the Acharnians by Aristophanes, translated by Charles James Billson, 1858–1932. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Expatriate in Bangor, Maine. Part 1. Scene: the Pnyx at Athens. Dicæopolis alone. There really is no end to my vexations. My pleasures are too scanty for my patience. I've only had some 4 that I could swear to, while plagued with all the ills that flesh is heir to. When had I now a pure poetic pleasure? Ah, yes, I know what charmed me beyond measure. To see base Cleon, by that lawsuit shaken, disgorging the 5 talents he had taken. That made me radiant. The nights be blessed, they fined the sinner, and the land had rest. But then I've had a tragical disaster. When I sat yawning, waiting for the master, and the man bellowed out, "Lead on the chorus! Theognis!" Fancy what a shock passed o'er us. See how Dexiphius pleased me, who just now sang the Boeotian and bore off the cow. But I'd this year a paralytic seizure, when slouching Charis played the stately measure. Then never since my mother washed me first was the dust smarting in my eyes so cursed as now, when the assembly's due this minute, and there's the Pnyx without a creature in it. They're chattering in the market place, and flying in all directions from the scarlet dyeing. The very prytanes aren't here. They'll rush in at the 11th hour, pushing and crushing to get at the best seats, like streams they roll on. For peace they never care. O town of Solon, I'm always very first on these occasions, and take my seat alone and try my patience, and groan and gape and don't know what to do, pluck out stray hairs and do a sum or two. Then, gazing on the fields, for peace I yearn, hating the town and longing to return to my own deme, which never thought of crying, "Buy coals, buy vinegar," nor dreamt of buying. That's by play to your independent peasant. And so, to tell the truth, I'm here at present to shout and jeer and interrupt the speaking, unless it's peace and nothing else they're seeking. Enter Prytanes, herald, Amphitheus, and citizens. Here come the Prytanes at midday too, scrambling for places as I said they do. Herald, come forth! Come forth within the ground that's consecrate. Amphitheus, has any speech been made? Herald, who wants to orate? Amphitheus, I do. Herald, who are you? Amphitheus, Amphitheus. Herald, not a human? Amphitheus, no, an immortal, though my ma's a woman. Thus, pompously, burlesquing the genealogical prologues of Euripides. I, whom mortals call Amphitheus, sprang from Demeter and Triptolemus, for they had issue Celeus, and he espoused my grandmother Phanarete. Her son Licinus was my honoured father, whence my immortal lineage you'll gather. The gods have given me a special charter to go alone and make a peace with Sparta. But, though my godlike nature no pretence is, I cannot pay my travelling expenses. The Prytanes don't give. Herald, what ho! The bowmen! The bowmen or constables enter and remove the obstructionist. Amphitheus, as he is being dragged out. Triptolemus, defend me from my foemen. Dicæopolis, O Prytanes, you do abuse the ecclesia, ousting the man who wants to make us easier, to get us peace and hang up every buckler. Herald, be silent there. Dicæopolis, I'll not be such a truckler, not till I hear a motion about peace. Herald, the Persian embassy returned to Greece. Dicæopolis, Persian indeed. Ambassadors are odious. I hate the peacocks and the way they toady us. Enter the ambassadors from Persia, fantastically arrayed in oriental costume. Herald, silence there. Dicæopolis, phew, Ecbatana, what guise! Chief Ambassador, you sent us, you'll remember, to advise with the great king upon affairs of weight. Euthymenes then filled our chair of state. 2 drachmas each per diem were our wages. Dicæopolis, oh, those poor drachmas. Ambassador, well, we toiled for ages, o'er the Caister's plain camping or creeping in chairs, with nothing to be done but sleeping. 'Twas pitiful. Dicæopolis, and I deserved no pity when I lay out on straw to guard the city? Ambassador, and then they feasted us, and would insist all that we should drink from cups of gold and crystal their strong sweet wine. Dicæopolis, men of the city rocky, don't you perceive how all these envoys mock ye? Ambassador, for men are not men, to barbarian thinking, unless they're great at eating and at drinking. Dicæopolis, no, nor to ours, unless they've 'scaped the gallows. Ambassador, in the 4th year we came to the king's palace, but he was absent on an expedition, with all his army and his court physician. 8 months upon the golden mountain seated, he kept an easement. Dicæopolis, when had he completed his labours? Ambassador, he arose, and marching down, at full of moon returned into the town, and feasted us, and set before us oxen, all roasted whole in ovens. Dicæopolis, now a pox on the braggart, fancy cooking such a fable. Ambassador, ay, and by Jove a bird came on the table 3 times as big as Cleonymus yonder. Points to a very stout gentleman among the audience. A kind of gull it was. Dicæopolis, ah, then no wonder you gulled us, drawing that high salary. Ambassador, And now we brought with us the great king's eye, Sudartibus. Die. I wish a crow'd fly down, my fine ambassador, and peck your own. Herald. The great king's eye. Enter Sudartibus, a mask representing one prodigious eye, attended by eunuchs. Die. Great Heracles, astounding! You're looking broadsides, man. Pray, are you rounding a headland into dock till calmer weather? Why, round your eye, you've got a rowlock leather. Ambassador. Come now, Sudartibus, to all discover why the great king of Persia sent you over. Sudartibus. Beginny shippy bongo pitchin hollow. Ambassador. D'ye understand him? Dicæopolis. No, I don't quite follow. Ambassador. He says the king will send us gold at once. To Sudartibus. Come now, say gold again, more plain, you dunce. Sudartibus. No getty gold, you black-leggy Iones. Dicæopolis. Oh dear, oh dear, how very plain his tone is. Ambassador. He says. Die. We're open to his coarse assertions if we expect to get gold from the Persians. Ambassador. No, we'll get gold in nuggets, that's the sense. Die. Pshaw! Nuggets! You've a pretty impudence. Stand off, and I will test him if I can. To Sudartibus. You, sir, please tell this gentleman, he holds out his fist, briefly and clearly what I wish you to, and if you don't, I'll dye you black and blue. Now, will the great king send us any gold? Sudartibus and the eunuchs make the Greek sign of negation. The envoys then have cozened us? We are sold? Sudartibus and the eunuchs make the Greek sign of assent. They nodded Greek. 'Tis plain they come from Hellas. Ah, but I know now one of those two fellows. It's Cleisthenes, Sybartius' baby. Why do you come to us like this, you gaby? Why don't you shave your beard, you grinning monkey, before you personate a Persian flunkey? Herald. Silence! Be seated! The senators invite the eye to dinner in the town hall. Dicæopolis. As I'm a living sinner, this is the very gallows. Here I'm puzzling, while the doors never shut against their guzzling. But I will do a deed of might and glory. Where's my Amphitheus? Amphitheus entering on the instant. He stands before ye. Die. Here, take me these 8 drachmas then, and sign a truce with Sparta for myself and mine, for my good woman and the little bodies. Exit Amphitheus. To the Prytanes. Keep up your embassies, you gaping noddies. Herald. Enter Theorus from Sitalces. Enter Theorus. Theorus. Hello. Dicæopolis. Another traveller's tale for us to swallow. Theorus. We should not have remained in Thrace such ages. Dicæopolis. Not if you hadn't had such handsome wages. Theorus. But the streams froze, and all the land lay under a canopy of snow. Dicæopolis. Why, yes, no wonder. Theognis' play was freezing hard just then. Theorus. Well, all this time I stayed there, gentlemen, drinking with Prince Sitalces. There's a frantic Athenomaniac for you, so romantic in his devotion to you that he'd cover the walls with scribbling like a crazy lover. From the east to western sea, Athens is the fairest she. And then his son, whom we had dubbed Athenian, desired to taste, being very weak and leany, an Ionian sausage from the revels, suing his father to assist the land they grew in. His father swore with many a libation he'd send the biggest army in the nation, and make Athenians cry with hands uplifted, Why, what a lot of locusts hither drifted! Dicæopolis. May I be hanged if we're not hocus-pocused by all you say, except that one word locust. Theorus. And now he sends you, which I'm sure must charm ye, the false and valiant Odomantian army. Dicæopolis. Oh yes, they've come to eat our victuals for us. Herald. Enter the Thracians, brought us by Theorus. Enter the Thracians, a troop of wretched tatterdemalions. Dicæopolis. Pray, what atrocities are these? Theorus. The host of Odomantians. At a trifling cost, 2 drachmas each, they'll desolate with ravages Boeotia. Dicæopolis. What?
2 drachmas for those savages? You'd have some grumbling from our gallant seamen, the city's bulwark. Oh, my evil demon! It's me they're ravaging. My garlic's gone. To the Thracians. Put down my garlic. Theorus. Stop, you simpleton! They're garlic valiant now. Don't go too near. Dicæopolis. You prytanes, do you see me pillaged here in my own country and by foreign losels? But I forbid a meeting for proposals about the Thracians' pay. 'Tis most profane, the gods declare. I felt a drop of rain. Herald. Thracians, depart, and 2 days hence return. Now, citizens, the meeting will adjourn. Exeunt Prytanes, Thracians, Theorus, Herald, and citizens. Dicæopolis. Oh, what a salad's wasted on that Tartar! But here's Amphitheus come back from Sparta. Welcome, Amphitheus. Enter Amphitheus running. Amphitheus. Not till I stop running, for I must baffle these Acharnians' cunning. Dicæopolis. Why, what's the matter? Amphitheus. I was hurrying here with truces, when some old Acharnians near got scent of them, tough hearts of oak and maple, old heroes of the Marathonian staple, and they all bawled and bellowed, "Stop, you lown! Do you bring truces with our vines cut down?" Then, while they filled with stones the cloaks they wore, I ran away, and they pursued and swore. Dicæopolis. Well, let them swear. But you have brought the truces? Amphitheus. Aye, that I have. 3 different sample juices. Produces 3 wine jars from under his cloak. Here's one for 5 years. Come, take that and try it. Dicæopolis. Bah! After putting the jar to his lips, makes a wry face. Amphitheus. Well? Dicæopolis. What nasty stuff! I'll never buy it. It smells of pitch and rigging out new galleys. Amphitheus. Then try this 10-year piece. Dicæopolis, tasting it. It smells of malice and shilly-shallying among the allies, and has a powerful stink of embassies. Amphitheus. But here's a truce for you by sea and land for 30 years. Dicæopolis, taking a long pull. By Jupiter, that's grand! The genuine smack of nectar and ambrosia. Most excellent, good. It couldn't make things cozier. It isn't to get ready 3 days' rations, but cries out loud, "Pursue your inclinations!" I'll pour libations out and drain it dry, and with these old Acharnians good-bye. I go to keep the country feast of Bacchus, freed from the wars and miseries that rack us. Exit Dicæopolis. Amphitheus. And I'll go too, lest these Acharnians track us. Exit Amphitheus. Enter the chorus of old Acharnians running. Chorus. Follow this way all together. Ask of every one you meet if he's seen the rascal running with his truces down the street. For our city's name and honor we must hunt the fellow down. Tell me, where's the scoundrel hiding who brings truces to the town? He's escaped, he has bolted and fled. Oh, my feeble old joints for the years that are sped, when I ran with a coal scuttle tied on my back, and was pressing Philus himself all the track. Ah, had I but hunted this peace-bearer then, he'd never have fled with such ease to his den. Now my limbs are growing weaker, old Lacratides is sore, with a stiffness in the haunches that he never felt of yore. So he's gone, but we must chase him, never let him laugh and jeer at escaping from Acharnians, though their limbs are old and queer. Father Zeus, gods above, he is treated with those whom I hate and detest as my bitterest foes. Growing fiercer and fiercer, our war never drops until I'm revenged for the loss of my crops. Till painful and sharp to the heart of their lines, like a bulrush I pierce in defense of my vines. But we must pursue and chase him, seek him all the wide world o'er, looking to the plain of Peltae, tracking him from shore to shore, till at length we find the rascal, for I shall not rest content, till at once my pelting gives him death and grave and monument. Enter Dicæopolis with his wife, daughter, and maidservant. Dicæopolis. Speak no word of evil omen. Chorus. Hush! You hear his prayer for silence. He's the very man, I say. Come to sacrifice, I take it. Let us keep out of the way. The chorus retire. Dicæopolis. Speak no word of evil omen. Now, basket girl, step forward once or twice. Wife. Put down the basket, child, let's sacrifice. Daughter. Please, mother, may I have the spoon to take the porridge out and pour it on this cake? Dicæopolis. Now all is well. O Bacchanalian king, accept with joy the offerings I bring, accept my little family procession, and keep me free from service and oppression, that I may keep thy feast and live in clover until my 30 years of peace are over. Wife. Come, bear the basket prettily, my pretty, with a proper Sunday face. Don't let 'em loot ye of all your gold and jewels in the scrimmage. Dicæopolis. Now, Xanthias, lift up the phallic image. I'll follow with the hymn. You, wife, must now stop to make an audience for us on the housetop. [Exit Wife. Dicæopolis, his daughter and maidservant march in solemn procession round the stage, while Dicæopolis sings the phallic hymn. The hymn. Hail, Phalles, frolic maid of Bacchus, whose wandering crews so oft attack us with many a drunken midnight fracas and theft clandestine. Thou half undoest the ills that rack us with mirth and jesting. For 5 long years I've had hard measure, and now come home with heartfelt pleasure to taste this truce, the dearest treasure to us poor haymakers. No general war shall mar my leisure, nor General Lamachus. 'Tis sweeter far than warlike glory to find your lassie dear before ye, roaming mid Phelleus' olives hoary in still recesses, and tell her all your tender story with sweet caresses. O Phalles, drunken, rattling fellow, when evening cups have made you mellow, rose drops of peace shall chase the yellow from morning peepers. Your shield will hang, where sparkles tell, a home fireside keepers. The chorus rush forward upon Dicæopolis. Chorus. That's a fellow, that's the man. Pelt him, pelt him, pelt him there. Beat the blackguard now you can. Would you spare? Would you spare? Dicæopolis, who, leaving his head unguarded, devotes all his care to the preservation of his sacrificial jar. Heracles! What is the matter? Oh, you'll break my little jar. Chorus. Oh, we'll break your headpiece for you, dirty scoundrel that you are. Dicæopolis. Nay, but tell me what my crime is, reverend Acharnian band. Chorus. You ask that, you wretch, you villain, traitor to your fatherland? You who made a private truce and now can look us in the face? Dicæopolis. But you don't know why I made it. Listen, and I'll state my case. Chorus. Listen to your lies and quibbles, wretch, we'll bury you with stones. Dicæopolis. Nay, but not until you've heard me. Wait till then to break my bones. Chorus. I'll not wait. Don't you prate any longer, for I hate you. Greater scamp than Cleon rate you, whom to shoe soles I shall pair, for the gallant knights to wear. I won't hear you. I won't listen while you make a long oration. You have made a peace with Sparta, and must give us compensation. Dicæopolis. Now, my masters, put the question of the Spartans out of sight, and just listen to my treaties, judge if I was wrong or right. Chorus. How can you persist in saying you were right, when you allege you made peace with men who honor neither altar, oath, nor pledge? Dicæopolis. Well, I'm sure those Spartans even we so furiously hate aren't to blame for all the evils that have fallen on the state. Chorus. Not for all, you wretch, you rascal? Do you dare to tell us so freely, flatly to our faces, and then think we'll let you go? Dicæopolis. Not to blame for all our troubles? Nay, I'd show you if I might. They have been in many cases actually in the right. Chorus. You provoke my soul to frenzy. You're a traitor to the state, if you dare to plead before us for the enemies we hate. Dicæopolis. But if I should plead unfairly, if the people scout my plea, while I speak I'll lay my head down on a chopping block, d'ye see? Chorus. Oh, why spare your stones, my demesmen? Why not pound the loathsome pest? Why not card and comb the fellow to a right rich purple vest? Dicæopolis. How the black coal in your spirit leapt to fiery life again! But, my dear Acharnians, won't you really hear me then? Chorus. No, we won't. We'll never hear you. Dicæopolis. Awful then will be my lot. Chorus. I'll be hanged if I will hear you. Dicæopolis. Dear Acharnians, I hope not. Chorus. You shall die upon the spot. Die. Then by Jove, I'll make you smart. I'll revenge myself by slaying what is dearest to your heart. For I have a hostage from you who shall live or die with me. Chorus. Tell me, fellow demesman, what this threat of his can be. Can he have a young Acharnian baby held in durance vile? Or does his presumption spring from any other act of guile? Die. Stone me if you like, but I will kill this darling of your soul, quickly learning who amongst you feels the native love for coal. As he pronounces the last word, Dicæopolis produces a coal scuttle dressed in long clothes to represent a baby, and prepares to pierce it with his sword. Chorus (in great agitation). We are done for. Do not kill him. Our own demesman. Oh, forbear. Oh, that scuttle, do not harm him. Spare him, we beseech thee, spare. Die. Bawl away, for I shall slay him. I'll not hear you, on my soul. Chorus. Oh, mine own familiar comrade! Oh, my noble heart of coal! Die. But just now you would not hear me speak a word about the peace. Chorus. Speak it now, and praise the Spartans to the top of your caprice, for I never will prove traitor to my little scuttle here. Die. First of all, then, throw your stones down, and I'll spare the little dear. Chorus. See, we've thrown them all away. Now put up your sword, I pray. Die. But take care you try no hoax. Hide no pebbles in your cloaks. Chorus. See, they're shaken on the ground, shaken by our dancing round. Now, don't prate another word, but make haste and sheath the sword. The chorus dance round and shake out the stones from their cloaks, while Dicæopolis puts away the sword in the coal scuttle. Die. So then, you could at last shake out your breath. Parnesian charcoal nearly died the death through its own deme's unnatural misdoing. It was so frightened that it fell to spewing a lot of coal dust like a cuttlefish. 'Tis monstrous sad men bear such acidish and sour grape natures that they pelt and laugh to utter scorn your decent half and half. And even when I'm offering to lay my head upon a block and say my say, and yet I love my life as well as they. First Semi-Chorus. Why then don't you bring the block out from within and begin? I am mightily desirous to know what you have to say. Speak away. Second Semi-Chorus. Yes, since the penalties of your own seeking, bring here the chopping block and try your speaking. Dicæopolis fetches a chopping block. Die. See, here's the block, and here's the little weak, unhappy mortal who was going to speak. Jove! I shan't take a buckler, never fear it, but say just what I think of Spartan merit. And yet I'm very much afraid. I'm versed in the humours of these rustics, always thirsting to hear some quack with fulsome adulation, bespattering themselves and all the nation. What matter whether lies or truth be told? They never know how they are being sold. And then I know your old man, how he gloats o'er nothing like condemnatory votes. And I remembered how I fared one day at Cleon's hands for last year's comic play. How to the Senate House he pulled and dragged me, and battered me with calumnies and nagged me, and spattered me with muddy jokes and sallies, while on my head he rinsed his dirty malice, and swore such waterspouts I nearly died, draggled and drowned in that polluting tide. So now, before I speak, let me assume some tragical and beggarly costume. Chorus. Why these twists and shifts, I pray? Why this craving for delay? Get Hieronymus to lend you one of Hades' casques to wear, with its murkily, shaggily clustering hair. I don't care. Or Sisyphus tricks you may try if you choose, but this trial will not admit any excuse. Die. 'Tis time for me to take good heart of grace, for I must look Euripides in the face. He knocks at the door of a house at the back of the stage. Porter! End of Part One. Recording by Expatriate in Bangor, Maine. Part Two of the Acharnians by Aristophanes. Translated by Charles James Billson, 1858 to 1932. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Expatriate in Bangor, Maine. Part 2. Porter opening the door.
Who's there? Die. Euripides indoors? Porter (after a moment's reflection). Indoors and out of doors, if sense is yours. Die. Why, how can he be in yet out, you dunce? Porter (with the alacrity of a sophist scenting a metaphysical argument). I'll prove you, master, that he's both at once. Abroad his intellectual being soars, collecting verselets, and is out of doors. His vital presence and material man sits in the garret, making verses scan. Die. Euripides is lucky, I declare, to have a porter who can split a hair. Call him. Porter. But that can't be. Die. But else you'll rue it, for I shall stay here knocking till you do it. Euripides! My Euripidion! Hear me if ever you heard any one. It's Dicæopolis from Collidae. Euripides (within). But I'm engaged. Die. But let them wheel you free. Euripides. But that can't be. Die. But if you don't, you'll rue it. Euripides. But being too busy to come down, I'll do it. Euripides is wheeled out in the enclima. Die. I say, Euripides. Euripides. Well, what d'you say? Die. Why, so you make your plays up there all day instead of the ground floor. Well, that should teach us why all of them go lame before they reach us. Verses and characters alike? And pray, why wear those tatters from some tragic play, those weeds of woe? Well, that should teach us why they're both alike so very beggarly. But, dear Euripides, I beg and pray, give me a little rag from that old play. For I must make a long speech to the chorus, and if we fail, our life must answer for us. Euripides. What tatters would you? Those my Aeneas there, the old man dismal fated, used to wear? Die. Not Aeneas, no, a wretcheder than Aeneas. Euripides. Blind Phoenix? Die. No, although his rags had seen use. But was there one e'en wretcheder than he? Euripides. What shreds of raiment would the fellow see? Do you mean the rags of beggar Philoctetes? Die. No, my man's beggary far more complete is. Euripides. Would you the muddy vesture that went on the crippled limbs of that Bellerophon? Die. No, not Bellerophon, but just that stamp. A lame, persistent, prating, prosing tramp. Euripides. I know him. Telephus. Die. Ay, Telephus. Give me his swaddlings and be generous. Euripides to his slave. Boy, bring him Telephus's tattered tags. You'll find them lying on Thyestes' rags just under Eno's. Slave. Take them, they are here. Die. (holding the garments up to the light to show their looped and windowed raggedness). By Jove, they'll see through this disguise, I fear. But 'tis indeed most tragically designed. Euripides, as you have been so kind, pray give me all belonging to the suit, the Mysian bonnet for my head to boot, since I this day must play the beggar here, be what I am but some one else appear, while all the audience know that I am I. But each poor foolish chorus man stands by for me to flip my wordcraft at his nose. Euripides. I will. The webs of thought thou weavest close. Die. Bless you. May Telephus be what I trow. Bravo! What wordcraft I'm being filled with now! But still, I want a little beggar's stick. Euripides. Take it, and leave the marble mansion quick. Die. O soul, thou art ousted from these halls of his, though still in want of many properties. So now thou must be firm and persevere and importune. Euripides, my dear, give me a tiny basket with a handle, one with a hole burnt through it by a candle. Euripides. What want, then, of this woven thing is thine? Die. Why, none at all. I want it to be mine. Euripides. Evacuate the palace and don't bother? Die. May heaven bless you as it blessed your mother. Euripides. Now, sir, begone. Die. But grant me one more whim. A little pitcher with a broken rim. Euripides. There, take it with my curse, plague of the palace. Die. By Jove, to his own plaguiness he's callous.
But give me one thing more, a little jug, there's a good darling, with a sponge for plug. Euripides. Fellow, you'll rob me of my tragedy. Take it and go. Dicæopolis. I'm going, yet, dear me, what shall I do? I want just one thing more, and then I'll go forever. I implore Euripides, for very life I ask it, give me some withered leaves to line the basket. Euripides. There, there, you'll ruin me. My plays are sped. Dicæopolis. No more. I'm going for my hardihead is overgreat, nor recks of royal loathing. Oh dear, poor me, I'm lost and brought to nothing. I'm done for, I forgot the cornerstone of all my fortunes. Euripidion, sweetest and best of men, I thee implore. May I be hanged if I ask any more? But this one single trifle, and no other. Just one poor lettuce, heirloom of thy mother. Euripides. The man insults us. Close the barriers there. Euripides is wheeled in. Dicæopolis. Poor soul, without a lettuce thou must fare. Now do the dangers of the race dishearten a soul that's going to speak up for the Spartan? Here is the scratch. Come forth, my soul, and tow it. Dost halt? Hast thou not drunk, the piteous poet? That's right. And now go yonder, pour my heart, and lay your head down there to speak your part. Screw up your courage. Eyes upon the goal. Art ready? Go! Well done, my noble soul. First Semi-Chorus. What shall you say? What is your plan? Shameless, insolent, brazen man, to pledge the state your neck, as you have done, defending a minority of one? Second Semi-Chorus. He does not fear his task to-day. Since you have chosen it, speak away. Dicæopolis. Take it not ill, spectators, I beseech, that though a beggar I shall make a speech Before Athenians upon state concerns In comic style. E'en comedy discerns The claims of justice, and what I shall say Will be severe but just. And yet to‐day Cleon will not accuse me with his jeer That I abuse the state with strangers here. At this Lenaean feast we're quite alone. The strangers haven't come yet, there are none Arrived with tribute, and no troops as yet From the allies. So now at least we're met All by ourselves, clean‐husked Athenians born, For as to metics they're the chaff o' the corn. Now, I hate Spartans very much indeed, And wish the ocean god, whose victims bleed On Tenerim, would make their houses fall, Shaken by earthquakes, down upon them all. For I've had vines cut down as well as others. But, since all present here are friends and brothers, Why blame the Spartans for this inconvenience? For there are men with us, but not Athenians. I never said they were Athenians, mind. Not men at all, but wretched, ill‐designed False counterfeits, the current coin debased, Flash citizens, dishonored and disgraced, Who confiscated the Megarians' jerkins. And if they cited garlic, salt, or gherkins, Leverets or sucking pigs, they called them ware From Megara, and sold them then and there. That was a custom native to the land. 'Twas graver matter when a drunken band Of Cotybus befuddled boys went over And stole a girl from her Megarian lover. Then the Megarians, bursting with vexation, Steal from Aspasia, in retaliation, 2 other doxies, and the war that drenches All Greece with blood was due to these 3 wenches. For then the Olympian Pericles in ire, Full mind enlightened with vindictive fire, And shook all Hellas with his armed throngs, And laid down laws that read like drinking songs, That the Megarians do no more remain On land or market place or sea or plain. Then the Megarians, when famine's stride Came nearer, begged the Spartans to provide That the 3 women bill should be repealed. But, though they often begged, we would not yield. And thence arose the clatter of the shield. You'll say 'twas wrong, but what was right, I pray? Come now, suppose a Spartan, some fine day, Sailed to Seriphus and gave information, And sold a puppy dog to your vexation. Would you have stayed at home? No, that you'd not. The truth is you'd have launched upon the spot 300 galleys, Filled the town with bawling For ship owners and captains, soldiers calling, With pay being given, measuring of rations, figureheads gilded, groaning trading stations, with thongs and wineskins, people buying firkins, garlic heads, olives, nets of onions, gherkins, chaplets, sprats, bruises, piping women's scars. The dockyard had been full of flattening spars, and banging nails and fitting oars for griping, flutes playing, boatswains whistling, pipers piping. That you'd have done. Deem we that Telephus had not? Then reason hath departed us. First Semi-Chorus. How dare you, beggar, talk like this, and task all informers to our face, you arrant rascal? Second Semi-Chorus. Nay, by Poseidon, but the man speaks fair. All that he says is true, not false, I swear. First Semi-Chorus. And if it is, what right has he to speak it? On his bold head my vengeance shall be wreaked. The first Semi-Chorus advance in a threatening attitude towards Dicæopolis. Second Semi-Chorus interposing. Ho there! Where are you running to? Stay, stay! If you touch him, you'll get a throw, I say. A struggle takes place between the two divisions of the chorus, in which the first Semi-Chorus, the party hostile to Dicæopolis, is worsted. Thereupon it implores the assistance of Lamachus. First Semi-Chorus sings. Lamachus, appear, appear. Let the lightning of thine eye strike the foeman's heart with fear. Fellow tribesmen, hasten nigh. Bless us now with wished sigh. Mighty Gorgon-crested knight, is there here a warrior form, knight at arms or colonel? Any soldier skilled to storm town and tower impregnable? Let him come to aid with haste, for I'm grappled round the waist. Lamachus strides upon the stage, accoutred like a burlesque hero, with rustling plumes and clanging armour. Lamachus. Whence came that martial summons from afar? Where must I aid? Where wake the din of war? Who roused the Gorgon from her case of leather? Dicæopolis, feigning extreme terror. Sir Lamachus, what fettle and what a feather! First Semi-Chorus. O Lamachus, hasn't this scurvy Jack been slandering all our state this long time back? Lamachus. How? Dares a mendicant like thee talk thus? Dicæopolis. Gramercy, pardon it, Sir Lamachus, if a beggar like me did prate and prattle so. Lamachus. What saidst thou of us? Speak. Dicæopolis. I don't yet know. Your terrible armour makes my head go round. Oh, please, please, put that bugbear on the ground. Lamachus laying down his shield. There then. Dicæopolis. Now turn it upside down. Lamachus reversing the shield so that the Gorgon head is undermost. I've done it. Dicæopolis. Now give me, please, the feather from your bonnet. Lamachus. Well, there's the feather. Dicæopolis. Hold my head a while. I don't feel well. Those plumes have stirred my bile. Lamachus. Wretch! Wouldst thou use my feather for a vomit? Dicæopolis. What is the bird if that's a feather from it? It's a white-feathered boaster, I suppose. Lamachus. Ha! Thou shalt die. Dicæopolis. No, Lamachus, your blows don't reach the point between us here at all. Lamachus. How, beggar? Speak'st thou thus to a general? Dicæopolis. Am I a beggar? Lamachus. Why, what are you then? Dicæopolis. What am I? Why, I'm a good citizen, and not a toadying place-hunter's son, but since the war began, the son of a gun, and not the son of a pay-captain like you. Lamachus. I was elected. Dicæopolis. By an owl or two. Well, I made peace, for I was sick and ill to see grey-headed veterans serving still, and boys like you all shuffling off to race, some with 3 drachmas salary to Thrace. Your Tisamoenophilippian brothers and vagabond Hipparchides, and others, Ceres and Theodorus, to Chaonians, or Cares with our Attico-Bezonians, others to Camarina and to Sicily, aye, and to any other place that is silly. Lamachus. They were elected. Dicæopolis. Aye, but what's the reason you're always going in and out of season and getting salaries and none of these? Pointing to the Acharnians. Say, did you ever go, Merilides, on an embassy, although you're old enough? See there? He shakes his head. Yet he's your stuff, a steady working man. And what of these? Draculus, Prinides, Euphorides? Has any one of you been all the way to see the great king or Chaonia? They answer, no. 'Tis only Lamachus and Cicera's baby who have prospered thus. Men who were only yesterday so drowned in debts and taxes that their friends would sound the alarm, keep off, whene'er they came in sight, like people pouring out the slops at night. Lam. O sovereign people, must I bear this? Say. Dicæopolis. No, not when Lamachus refuses pay. Lam. Then will I wage most furious bloody strife on sea and land throughout my mortal life against all Spartans and their base allies. With puissant arm I'll strike and scourge mine enemies. [Exit Lamachus. Die. And I make proclamation unto Sparta and her allies, that all with me may barter. Megarians and Boeotians may thus come to my market, but not Lamachus. [Exit Dicæopolis. The Parabasis. 1. Comation. He's winning the day, and the people incline to the truce. In their conscience his plea sticks. But we'll doff our long-flowing robes and combine to chant out the loud anapaestics. 2. Anapest. From the time when his first comic chorus was given our master, he never has come on the stage to assure us that he is remarkably clever. But his enemies charged him of late, in Athens of speedy decision, of libeling people in state with an insolent scoffing derision. And so he now wants to reply to Athens of fickle decision, declaring his merits are high and deserving of your recognition. 'Twas he who prevented the state from being fooled by each foreign oration, from swallowing flattery's bait with an open-mouthed kit's delectation. Ere that, all the envoys who came from the cities would try to get round you, recalling your glorious name and the violet chaplets that crowned you. When any one uttered the phrase, you were all so rejoiced beyond measure at the crowns all united to praise that you sat upon tip-tail for pleasure. And if any one flattered your pride, to the sleekness of Athens referring, he'd bring all the world to his side by a compliment fit for a herring. In this way, our master replies, he has done you a service emphatic, by showing how all the allies are conducting their rule democratic. So now they will quickly arrive with the tribute they owe to the city, all eager to see him alive, the poet so brave and so witty, the poet who risked his own life to Athens her duty declaring. Yea, now in far countries is rife the fame of his glorious daring. The king himself lately demanded of some envoys from Sparta discreet, first, which of the two states commanded the Grecian seas with her fleet. And secondly, which was so often abused by this wonderful poet, already their wicked hearts softened to virtue, he said, and I know it. The side he so wisely advises will soon get the best of the blows. And this is why Sparta devises proposals of peace for her foes. First she asked back Aegina, not caring a jot for the island, that's clear, but craftily bent upon tearing our bard from his natural sphere. But never do you let him go, for he'll play out his part with sincerity, and promises ever to show the virtuous path to prosperity, not fawning nor offering bribes, not tricking nor playing the cheat, not drenching with long diatribes, but teaching what's honest and meet. 3. Macron. Pronounced by the actor in a breath. And therefore let Cleon exhibit his skill in plotting against me whatever he will, confederate justice my bosom shall thrill, and I'll never like him be convicted of ill, who is false to the state and is false to it still. 4. Strophe. Come, Acharnian muse, that burnest with the fire that feeds thy heart, energetic, strong, and earnest is thy native simple art. Thy live vigour shall not dwindle, as the sparks incessant leap which the helpful bellows kindle from the oak log's smouldering heap, when the little fish are lying all upon the charcoal frying, and, while some are kneading bread, others mix the Thasian pickle richly filleted. So I pray thee be not fickle, bring a song, lively, nervous, bold, and strong, rough with rustic hardihood, come to me, thy demesman good. 5. Epirema. We the aged, we the hoary, blame the thing our state has done, that our old age is not cherished for the sea fights that we won. Hard, ungrateful is your conduct, dragging men with age oppressed, to be laughed at in the law courts by the stripling's ready jest. ancient men, mere living shadows, deaf to sound with pipe played out, whose Poseidon and preserver is the staff they bear about. Mumbling, drivelling with dotage, there we stand within our place, seeing nothing but the darkness of the labyrinthian case. Then the youngster, very jealous to conduct his accusation, smartly cudgels us with phrases clenched into a neat oration. Then he drags us up to question, setting all his word traps baited, hounding, pounding, and confounding, poor Tithonus evil fated. Toothless with old age he mutters, and at last he goes away, and the verdict is against him, his accuser wins the day. Then he sobs and tells his comrades with a bitter, tearful whine, all the money for my coffin must be paid to meet the fine. 6. Antistrophe. Shame upon your evil doing, ye who bring up every day to the water clock and ruin some poor fellow old and grey. Some old mate who shared your labour, wiping off the manly sweat from his brow, your constant neighbour, in the battle's dust and heat. One with whom you fought and won on the field of Marathon. We were making charges then on the foe that backward hurried. Now by shameless countrymen we ourselves are charged and worried. Till at last we're defeated too, and cast, who this scandal will deny? Even Marpsius dare not try. 7. Antiparema. Should a bent and hoary greybeard like Thucydides be sued, vexed by this abomination of a Scythian solitude, ruined by this prating pleader, this Cephisodemus here? Ah, my heart was full with pity, and I brushed aside a tear, when I saw a Scythian archer, a long-winded advocate, sore perplexing and confounding that old servant of the state, who by Ceres, in the old time when he was Thucydides, from that dame herself would never have endured such wrongs as these. Rather would he first have gripped and flung you Athluses by dozens, then bawled down 10,000 archers and outshot his father's cousins. But, since now you will not suffer aged men to sleep in peace, vote that suits should be divided, that this great injustice cease. Let the toothless charge the toothless, let the old accuse the old, let the young have smart accusers, ready-tongued and quick and bold. So in future you must never fine or banish those who are flung, save when old men sue the old men, and when young men sue the young. Enter Dicæopolis. Dicæopolis. These are the bounds, then, of my place of barter, which I throw open to allies of Sparta. Megarians and Boeotians may thus come to my market, but not Lamachus. The market stewards I elect together by lot to be these 3 good straps of leather. And hither let no base informer come, nor any other man from sneaking home. Now I'll set up the pillar with the treaty, and make it visible to all the city. Exit Dicæopolis. Enter a Megarian with 2 young daughters. Megarian. Hail, Mart o' Athens, to Megarians dear! I've yearned for you by friendship's lord so sore, as ye'd have been my mother. Hoot together, ye misleared bairns of an unlucky father! Get up, and gin ye fin it, free the haggis. Just harkee now wi' all your empty baggage. Would ye be solt, or would ye starve to death? Daughters. We would be selt. Megarian. And so I think. But where'd you find good faith? A coof so fexless as to buy you baith, your good-for-nothing hizzies? I've hit on a good Megarian plan. I'se gar ye pit on these clouts, and say I bought 2 sows to niffer. Pit on the pig-graith now, and dinna differ. For a braw old Grumphy's bairns are on my oath, I'se take ye home at once to starve to death. And put thy snouts here now upon your grunzies, and gae into the sack at once, ye dunces. And mind ye grumph and say "Coy, coy," and squeal like whingin' mystery pigs in Unco Deal. Now I's ca Dicæopolis to choose. Hooly, my man, and would you buy some sows? Enter Dicæopolis. Dicæopolis. What's this? A man from Megara? We're come to market, mon. Dicæopolis. And how'd you do at home? Megarian. We sit all day in the chimla lug and fast. Dicæopolis. Ah, that's delightful, if the liquor last, and if a piper's there, that's very pleasant. How else do you Megarians fare at present? Megarian. Just so-so. When I started to come hither, the council was consulting all together what was the best and quickest way to die. Die. Then you will soon be freed from misery. Megarian. Well, well. Die. What else? How is corn sellin' there? Megarian. It's like the gods with us. It's unco dear. Die. Then have you salt? Megarian. Haven't you the salt works too? Die. Or garlic? Fiend height garlic have we now. When ye invade our country like field mice, ye howk up all the heads on it in a trice. Die. What have you then? Megarian. 2 sous for the mysteries. Die. Good. Let me see them. Megarian. They're good sows are these. Lift up this one and feel her if you choose. How much she weighs? They're both mace birdly sows. Die. Feeling the sack. What's this thing? Megarian. It's a sow, mon. Die. Of what breed? Megarian. Megarian. Is not that a sow indeed? Die. Doesn't look like one to me, it's true. Megarian. Mere shame to ye. Look at his suspecting noo. He says this is no pig, ava. I's wad you. Some thime it's sout noo and ye wis, my laddie, that it's a proper pig by the law of Greece. Die. Well, it's a proper pig of the human race. Megarian. Trouth, mon, it's mine. Was did you think it was? Have ye a min to hear him squeal? Die. Oh, yes. Megarian. Be quick now, sow, at once, and make a squeal. You mauna hold your whist, ye ne'er do well, or on my elth I'll take yer home again. Daughter. Coy, coy. Megarian. Is that a pig? Die. Now it's a pig, that's plain, but it will be a woman when it's prime. Megarian. It will be like its mother in 5 years' time. Die. But it won't do for sacrifice. Megarian. Why no? Why won't it do? Die. It has no tail to show. Megarian. Well, it's a young one. When it's been weel fed, 'twill have a good long tail, a fat and red. But an ye rear it, here's a bonny sow. Die. It's very like the other one, it's true. Megarian. They're free of mother and father both. 'Tis a good Venus offering, in faith. Die. And can they feed without their mother now? Megarian. And without their father, ye may vow. Die. What do they eat most? Megarian. All you let 'em try. Just spirit them yourself. Die. Pigs. Daughters. Coy, coy, coy. Die. Would you like peas to eat? Daughters. Coy, 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 coy. Die. What? And dried figs from Phibulus? Daughters. Coy, coy. Die. Oh, what a squeal they give when I say figs. Let someone bring out figs for the little pigs. Now will they eat them? Heracles, look there. They munch them quite like human beings, I swear. Whate'er the breed, they're very gorgeous pigs, and yet they cannot have gorged all the figs. Megarian. Nah, nah. I just took this one for myself. Die. They're most humane young porkers, I can tell. What do you want now for your pigs, my man? Megarian. Let's have a bunch of garlic for this one, and take for tither and a quart of salt. Die. Stay here, I'll buy them. Exit Dicæopolis. Megarian. Hermes of the mart. Just let me go and sell my wife now, this very gate, and my old mither too. Enter an informer. Informer. Fellow, who are you? Megarian. I'm a Megarian, troth, a pig merchant. Informer. Then I'll denounce you both. As enemies, your little pigs and you. Megarian. The cause of all our skaith's returning now. Informer. I'll teach you, sir, to megarize like this. Put down the sack. Megarian. Ho! Dicæopolis! Someone's denouncing me. Enter Dicæopolis. Die. Who's that denouncing? Come, market stewards, you were meant for trouncing informers. He belabors the informer with his leather straps. Who gave you your education, you dunce? Pray, how can you give information? Informer. Shan't I denounce our enemies? Die. You'll rue it, unless you run off somewhere else to do it. Megarian. Troth, what a plague at Athens this maun be. Die. Cheer up, Megarian. Here's the price, you see, the salt and garlic for the pigs I get. Take it and fare you well. Megarian. I'll no do that. We fare na well in my country. Dicæopolis. Then may it recoil on me if I was wrong to say it. Megarian. My little sows, try now, without your daddy, to eat your bonnets salted, and they're ready. Exeunt omnes. End of Part 2. Recording by Expatriate in Bangor, Maine. Part 3 of the Acharnians by Aristophanes. Translated by Charles James Billson, 1858 to 1932. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Expatriate in Bangor, Maine. Part 3. Chorus. The fellow hit a lucky chance. See how his plan's progressing. He'll reap a glorious crop of wealth and fame and every blessing. Yes, in the marketplace he'll stay, and if a Ctesias steps that way, or any other spy comes prowling, he'll sit down howling. And no one else in purchasing provisions shall bamboozle you. Cleonymus shan't jostle you, nor filthy Preface touzle you. A cloak you'll wear of virgin white no sycophant has brought to light, nor shall Hyperbolus provoke you with suits to choke you. Nor shall Cratinus hop to you his morning jests to bandy, smooth shaven with a single shear like any gay young dandy. That busy trifler with the muse, that knave in Artemonian shoes, from whose rank armpits you may gather what goat's his father. Pausin no more'll be scoffin', nor Lysistratus importunate, that shame of the Calargians, that double-dyed unfortunate, who begs and shivers every day, and every month is starved, they say, for all the 30 days, and dirtied for more than 30. Enter a Boeotian and boy, followed by many pipers playing. Boeotian. Begorra, it's right shoulder-galled I was. Put down the penny royal, Ismenias. Nately, now nately, and those pipers round you that followed us from Thebes? Enter Dicæopolis. Dicæopolis. Stop, stop, confound you! You buzzing wasps, be off, go to perdition. Was Charis then your bumble-pipe musician? Exeunt pipers. Boeotian. Now faix, your honour, I'm obliged to ye. It's all the way from Thebes they followed me, puffin' and blowin' all my blossoms down. Now, if you please, buy what I brought to town. I've got young chicks and every four-winged creature. Dicæopolis. Well met, my little pumpernickel eater. How d'ye do, my tight little Boeotian? What have you brought us with all this commotion? Boeotian. The very best entirely you could find in old Boeotia. Meats of every kind, wicks, pennyroyal, woodcocks, jackdaws, ducks, divers and water hens and hazel chucks. Dicæopolis. You're like a winter gale, man, bringing fowls to market in such flights. Boeotian. Fex, and I've owls, beavers, geese, hares, moles, foxes, cats, hedgehogs, otters and weasels, eels from Copay's bogs. Dicæopolis. Oh, food to mortal man the best and fairest. Let me address the eels, if such thou bearest. Boeotian. Firstborn of 50 virgins, Copaids, turn out to please his honour when he bids. Dicæopolis. O maiden of my love, O pined for long, thou'rt welcome to the lords of comic song. Beloved of Mauricus, be quick, ye fellows, bring me out here the gridiron and the bellows. Behold her, swains, the loveliest eel and best. After 6 years she seeks the yearning breast. Speak to her, children. I'll supply the charcoal. All for the potence of her sweet eyes' sparkle. Now bring her in. Oh, may not death's oppressing rob me of thee, well stewed with beetroot dressing. Boeotian. But how will I be paid for it, your honour? Dicæopolis. Oh, as a market toll we'll look upon her. But will you sell me something else as well? Eh? What do you say? Boeotian. There's nothing I won't sell. Dicæopolis. Come now, how much do you want for all the pack? Or will you take another cargo back? Boeotian. Just what you got here, and we go without. Dicæopolis. Ah, then you'll buy Phalarian sprats, no doubt, or crockery? Boeotian. What? Is it sprats or crockery? We've got them both at home. Nay, no such mockery. I'll take what's common here, and what we want. Dicæopolis. I have it. Bring him out a sycophant, and pack him up like crockery ware. Boeotian. That's it. By all the saints, it's a good sum I'd get, showing him as a tricksy queer baboon. Dicæopolis. Here comes Nicarchus, who'll denounce you soon. Boeotian. It's small he is. Dicæopolis. But every inch is bad. Enter Nicarchus, an informer. Nicarchus. Whose wares are these? Boeotian. Sure, and they're mine, bedad, from Thebes. Nicarchus. Then I denounce them every one as goods of the enemy. Boeotian. What have they done, the tiny birds, to make you storm and clatter? Nicarchus. And I'll denounce you too. Boeotian. Why, what's the matter? Nicarchus. I'll tell you that the audience may know. You've got a wick from the enemy in tow. Dicæopolis. And so you're bringing now a wick to light? Nicarchus. Yes, it might burn the dockyard down, it might. Dicæopolis. A wick, a dockyard. Nicarchus. Yes. Dicæopolis. But in what manner? Nicarchus. It might be stuck by some Boeotian planner, looking hard at the Boeotian, upon a kind of beetle, set alight, and sent into the dockyard some dark night, in a high wind, up through a water drain, and then the fire would catch the ships, it's plain, and they'd all blaze at once. Dicæopolis, belabouring him. They'd blaze at once. All through a beetle and a wick, you dunce. Nicarchus. I call you all to witness. Dicæopolis. Gag him, gag him. Give me some straw to stuff him in and bag him like crockery, that he mayn't break as we drag him. Chorus. Now pack his purchase up, my man, as tight and firmly as you can, safe to make it, lest on the way he break it. Dicæopolis. I'll see to that. He rings just like, beating him, a fire-cracked vessel when you strike, jarring direly, an utter scamp entirely. Chorus. But what use will he be to him? Dicæopolis. A jar to suit his every whim, a bowl of abuses, a mortar of actions, a lamp to throw light on official transactions, a poisonous cup made to stir up plots and seditions and troublesome factions. Chorus. How could you trust a jar like this, that always gives so false a token? Dicæopolis. Its strength, my friend, is not amiss. Hold it head down, it can't be broken. Chorus. To Boeotian. Now you're well off, my hearty. Boeotian. I'll join a reaping party. Chorus. Aye, reap him down, my jolly clown, and use him well in field and town, for all you want, the perfect sycophant. Dicæopolis (to audience). I had hard work to pack that scoundrel there. To Boeotian. Here, my Boeotian, take your crockery ware. Boeotian (to boy). Come, get your shoulder under him, gossoon. Dicæopolis. Be very careful how you hold the loon. He's a very rotten burden anyway, but still be careful. If you get good pay and make some money by your importation, you'll get some good out of an information. Exit Boeotian and boy. Enter Lamachus's slave. Slave. Ho! Dicæopolis. Dicæopolis. Well, why do you shout? Slave. Why, Lamachus desires you'll send him out some thrushes for this drachma here, d'ye see? And a copaic eel for the other 3. Dicæopolis. An eel for Lamachus? What Lamachus? Slave. The dauntless one, the bull-hide valorous, who wields the Gorgon shield and waves above 3 overshadowing plumes. Dicæopolis. Nay then, by Jove, if he'd give me a shield he shouldn't have the dish. Let him wag his plumes over some salted fish. If he makes any outcry or resistance, I'll call the market stewards to my assistance. Exit Slave. Now for my part I shall take up this load and go back singing to my own abode. Sings. Quails and blackbirds fluttering spread purple pinions o'er my head. Exit Dicæopolis. Chorus. Strophe. Thou hast seen him, O my city, thou hast seen the master mind. So far-sighted, wise and witty, he alone a truce has signed. He alone at peace with Sparta fearlessly can buy and barter merchandise of every kind. Every blessing, every grace flows upon his favored race. All the thrifty wife would choose for her daily household use. Every dainty steaming dish that the starving soul could wish. Never more will I admit war beside my hearth to sit. Never at my board shall he troll Harmodius his glee. Drunken fiend, whose revel riot burst upon our happy quiet.
Spoiling, ruining, destroying Blessings we were all enjoying? Frenzied, insolent marauder? None could win him back to order. Though one spoke him soft and fair, "Prithee take a seat, good sir. Taste this loving cup, my friend. Drink, and let all quarrels end." Still his wrath but raged the higher, Till he set our poles on fire, Till at last a blacker treason seized him, And he drew our wine, Stored and bottled for the season, From its skins upon the vine. Antistrophe. He, departing in his glory, Goes the banquet to prepare. Proudly, see! He casts before ye Tokens of his festal fare. See, displayed before his dwelling, All those feathers, surely telling Of the princely dainties there. Come, thou nymph of joke and mien, Playmate of the Cyprian queen, Lovely Peace, whom none can ever From the laughing Graces sever. Wherefore didst thou hide from sight Thy celestial visage bright? Would some Cupid sly would tether You and me, dear love, together, All with twisted braids of roses, And 100 different posies? Like that winged boy divine, Limbed in Aphrodite's shrine, Though perchance thou deemest me All too old a groom for thee. 3 things I will do beside, When I bring thee home a bride. First, I shall draw out in order Rows of vines, and round the border Set some fig trees' tender shoots, And the slips of wildwood roots. Then I'll plant in ordered rows Olives round our orchard close. This I think to do, though laden With a weight of years, that we may Anoint us both, dear maiden, When the new‐faced moon we see. Enter Dicæopolis, Herald, Slaves, etc. Herald. Hear, all ye people! As our sires ordained, At trumpet call the gallon shall be drained. The man who drains his gallon first to own The drinking prize, the skin of Ctesiphon. Dicæopolis. Lads, women, don't ye hear? What are ye doing? Didn't ye hear the herald? To your stewing! Roast, turn, weave chaplets, and take off that hair. Bring me the spits to spit those thrushes there. Chorus. I envy your design so wise, Still more the feast you're making. Dicæopolis. And what then when you cast your eyes Upon these thrushes baking? Chorus. There too you're right completely. Dicæopolis. Come, give the fire a poking. Chorus. You see how very neatly, How dinner‐like and featly He manages his cooking. Enter a Countryman. Countryman. Oh dear, oh dear. Dicæopolis. Good Lord, who's that just come? Countryman. A miserable man. Dicæopolis. Then go back home. Countryman. Kind sir, there's no one has a peace but you. Measure me out at least a 5-year brew. Dicæopolis. What's come to you? Countryman. I've lost my beasts and all. Dicæopolis. How? Countryman. The Boeotians stole them from their stall at Phylae. Dicæopolis. That's a blow that must have smarted. But why aren't you in black for the departed? Countryman. Ay, though they always kept me well, I vow, in good manure. Dicæopolis. Well, what do you want now? Countryman. I've wept my eyes out for them beasts of mine. Oh, if your kind heart does at all incline To Dircetes of Phylae, then, I pray, Anoint my eyes with peace without delay. Dicæopolis. I'm not the parish doctor, my poor chap. Countryman. Come, come, I pray you do, for then, mayhap, I shall get back my oxen. Dicæopolis. Oh dear, no. Go and lament to Pitilus and Co. Countryman. Only a drop of peace. Just squeeze me one into this little tube. Dicæopolis. I'll give you none. Not a bird's whistle. Off now with your tears. Countryman. Oh dear, oh dear. My poor dear farming steers. Exit Countryman. Chorus. Our friend seems to find the peace to his mind, And to share it with any he seems disinclined. Dicæopolis. Pour honey there over the tripe in that dish, And mind how you're frying those fine cuttle‐fish. Chorus. Do you hear? What a bellow! Dicæopolis. The eels! Broil them there! Chorus. Stop, stop! My dear fellow, you'll kill us, I swear. I've hunger, I'm dying, and the folk who live near With the smell of good cheer and the noise of your crying. Enter a Bridesman and Bridesmaid. Dicæopolis. Now then roast this, and brown it well with care. Bridesman. Ho! Dicæopolis! Dicæopolis. Who's there? Who's there? Bridesman.
A bridegroom sends you from the wedding feast this dish of meat. Die. That's very kind at least, whoever he is. Bridesman. And he desires you, too, to pour out, in return for this same stew, 1 cup of peace into this alabaster, to keep him safe from service and disaster. Die. There, take your meat away. Don't give me any. I wouldn't do it for a pretty penny. But who's this girl? Turning to the bridesmaid. Bridesman. The bridesmaid. She comes here sent by the bride to gain your private ear. Die. (to bridesmaid). Come then, my dear, what is it? The bridesmaid whispers to him. Well, I'm blessed. What a ridiculous, absurd request. She wants to keep her husband safe at home. Well, bring the truces. I must give her some, since she's a woman and unfit for war. So, girl, just reach me here that ointment jar, and tell the bride whene'er they raise recruits to drop some grease into her husband's boots. Exit bridesman and bridesmaid. Take back the truces, bring that philtre of mine, that I may fill the gallons up with wine. Chorus. Lo, here comes one with lifted brows and pale, speeding like one that bears a woeful tale. Enter a messenger. Messenger. O general grief and grievous generals. Enter Lamachus. Lamachus. What voice re-echoes round the brass-girt halls? Messenger. The generals bid you hasten in full feather to guard the passes in this snowy weather. They've heard that the Boeotians will attack us while we are busy with the feast of Bacchus. Lamachus. O generals, were your wisdom as your numbers? Isn't it hard to rob me of my slumbers like this and drag me from the feast Lenaean? Dicæopolis. Ho! Armament duello Lamachaean. Lamarcus. Oh dear, and now thou'rt mocking me with jests. Die. Wouldst thou strive with Geryon's 4 crests? Lamachus. Out, out, alas! Ah, what a message did the herald bear me! Die. Ha! With what message does this herald near me? Enter Messenger. Messenger. Ho! Dicæopolis! Die. Well, well, what is it? Messenger. The priest of Dionysus hopes you'll visit the feast at once, with box and gallon too. Quick, raise the dust. The dinner's stayed for you this long time. All the things are ready. Benches, footstools and tables, cushions, chaplets, wenches, dried fruits and comfits, honey cakes and myrrh, sesame puddings, broad cakes, all are there. Be quick, make haste. Exit Messenger. Lamachus. Oh dear, my evil fate. Die. Why, yes, you trust to the protectorate of a big Gorgon. Shut the door, you sinner, and let somebody be preparing dinner. Lamachus. Ho, boy, there! Bring me out my haversack. Die. Ho, boy, there! Bring me out my box to pack. Lamachus. Some salted thyme and onions, boy, be quick. Die. Some fish for me, boy, onions make me sick. Lamachus. Boy, bring me out a mess of rotten fish. Die. And me a mess too, for a savoury dish. Lamachus. Bring me the feather which my helmet brushes. Die. Bring me the pigeons and the little thrushes. Lamachus. How fair and white is this tall ostrich crest. Die. How fair and brown is this roast pigeon's breast. Lamachus. Sirrah, forbear to mock my martial arms. Die. Sirrah, forbear to eye my thrush's charms. Lamachus. Bring out the hair trunk where my crest reposes. Die. Bring out the hair stew that delights our noses. Lamachus. This moth was eating up my tufts so shining. Die. This mouth is eating hare soup before dining. Lamachus. Don't worry me, sir, with your conversation. Die. No, but this boy and I've a disputation. To boy. Now, will you bet? Let the decision rest with Lamachus. If locusts be the best, or thrushes. Lamachus. Bah! You're insolent. Die. You hear it. He said that locusts had the greater merit. Lamachus. Ho, boy, take down and bring me out my spear. Die. Ho, boy, take off the tripe and bring it here. Lamachus. Come, I will draw my lance from forth its cover. To boy. Stand fast and pull. Die. And you, boy, pull this over. Lamachus. Bring me the stand that holds my staff of strife. Die. Bring me the bread out, lad, my staff of life. Lamachus. Bring me the oval Gorgon compass shield. Dicæopolis. And me the pancakes cheese encompassed field. Lamachus. This insolence is broad. I'll none of it. Dicæopolis. This broad cake's good. I'll have another bit. Lamachus. Boy, pour the oil out. In this bronze I see an old man being tried for treachery. Dicæopolis. Pour out the honey. Here's an old man's face, who curses Lamachus's Gorgon race. Lamachus. Bring me my breastplate, boy, my aid in war. Dicæopolis. Bring me my breastplate, boy, my gallon jar. Lamachus. Herewith I'll arm myself the foe to rout. Dicæopolis. Herewith I'll arm me for a drinking bout. Lamachus. Boy, strap my bedding to the shield this minute. Dicæopolis. Boy, strap the meat box with my dinner in it. Lamachus. Give me the knapsack, on my back I'll bear it. Dicæopolis. Give me the cloak, upon my way I'll wear it. Lamachus. Take up the shield, boy, and we'll quit this folly. It's snowing. Ugh! Things look most melancholy. Exit. Dicæopolis. Take up the dinner. Things look very jolly. Exit. Chorus. See the twain to battle sped, but what diverse ways they tread. One will sit and feast all night, with a wreath of roses dight, drinking hard, while the other sits and shivers, with 1,000 quakes and quivers, keeping guard. Strophe. May that scion of slobber, that quill-driving jobber, Antimachus, scribbler of verse, without reservation or equivocation, be damned with the Thunderer's curse. For when President Orus, as head of the chorus, on Bacchus's festival day, the miserly beast shut me out from the feast and sent me quite famished away. May I see him half dying for cuttlefish frying, when bubbling and hissing and nice, with salt ready stored, it hangs over the board and lands on his plate in a trice. Then just ere he slips the first slice in his lips, may a little dog steal through the door, make a snatch at the dish, run away with the fish, and never be found any more. Antistrophe. One plague we have reckoned, and now may a second befall him as well in the night. Going home from a ride with a pain in his side and a feverish, pitiful plight. Ere he reach his abode, may some knight of the road, of wassail and insolence full, Orestes pursued by the Furies, intrude upon him and batter his skull. In a terrible taking, while cut-purse is breaking, his head may he look all around, and grope in the dark, very wide of the mark, to pick up a stone from the ground. And finding at last a missile to cast, no matter what, not what he seeks, take aim as he can, and missing his man, bespatter Cratinus's cheeks. Enter a messenger. Messenger. Ye slaves that dwell in Lamachus' mansion, heat water in a little pansion, make ready linen, greased wool, and plaster, to bandage up the ankle of your master. The man was wounded, leaping o'er a trench, upon a treacherous stake. The backward wrench unhinged his ankle, and with awful shock he burst his head flat fallen upon a rock. Started the Gorgon from her case of leather, and down the cliff was hurled the boaster's feather. Loud rang the death cry of the hapless wight, "Farewell, great orb! I leave thy glorious light. To see it never more I die a martyr." So spake, and straightway fell into the water. Rose up, and found some base deserters near, and routed all the robbers with his spear. But throw the doors apart, for he is here. Enter Lamachus, wounded, supported by 2 slaves. Lamachus. Woe, woe, unutterable woe! Oh, icy pang! Oh, dear! Alack! I go to realms below, from wound of foeman's spear. But 'twere indeed a grievous shock, if Dicæopolis should see me wounded here, and mock such woeful fate as this. Enter Dicæopolis, drunk, supported by 2 dancing girls. Dicæopolis. Ho, ho! Unutterable bliss! My golden chicks, I thirst for one soft kiss. What joy is this? I've drunk the gallon first. Lamachus. O wretched state! O woeful fate! Alack, alack, alack! My horrid wounds would shock ye. Dicæopolis. Lo, Lamachus, come back. How do, my little jockey? Lamachus. Foul hate is mine. Dicæopolis. I've no repose. Lamachus. Don't kiss me, swine. Dicæopolis. Don't bite my nose. Lamachus. Oh dear, what damages! That charge was heavy. Die. What charge to‐day could anybody levy? Lam. Apollo, healer, unto thee I call. Die. It isn't now the healer's festival. Lam. Convey me instant on a healing mission To Pitalus, the eminent physician. Die. And bear me away to the judges, I pray. Is the king within? Then give me the skin. Lam. A cruel spear has pierced my bones in horrid gruesome fray. Die. There, look at that, I've emptied it. Hurrah, I've won the day. Chorus. Sing ho, the conqueror, you bid us all sing hallo. Die. Yes, and I filled one full of wine and drank it at a swallow. Chorus. Bravo, hurrah, my noble heart, the skin is yours, hooray. Die. Then follow me and sing hurrah! Bravo! He's won the day! Chorus. We'll fill your train as you go in and cheer again, you and your skin, with a hearty strain. He's won the day! With a hip, 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 hooray! End of Part 3. Recording by Expatriate in Bangor, Maine. End of the Acharnians by Aristophanes. Translated by Charles James Billson. 1858 to 1932.